I want to just formally welcome everybody to our October Learning Lunch. We are learning with Laura Dugovic today, and she is a multi-talented woman. She heals through sound, eye movement processing, transformational hypnosis, breathwork, and meditation, and more things. Through all of these modalities, she has learned how to guide people into a higher state of well-being. Laura will be talking to us today about practical positive thinking, and she shares affirmations and positive thinking have gotten a bad rap in the last few years, but I'm excited to share the experiences that have led me to believe that positive thinking is just as relevant and useful in our daily lives as it has ever been. We might just be doing it wrong. Okay, I'm so excited for this conversation, Laura. I can't wait to learn from you today. I am going to turn the time over to you.
Okay, amazing. I'm so happy to be with you all today. And I'm so excited to talk about this topic. And it was kind of off of my radar a little bit that we were doing this learning lunch October. I don't know if anyone else is feeling that snuck up on me big time. Like, what is happening? And so I didn't have a lot prepared on it. And Michelle said, "Hey, are you still good to go?" And I was like, "Yes." And you don't want to know why? Because I am like dying to talk about this topic. And I'm like, I will get it together. I can't wait. And I would actually love any other thoughts from our community as well on the topic, because I think it's an important one to discuss at this point because yeah, I think it has really gotten a bad rap, and we're going to talk more about that today. So, first of all, I want to talk about what has come to be known in wellness, holistic mental wellness circles as toxic positivity. Okay, because that's a very real thing. It's not that it's not real. Let me be clear about that right out the gate, right? But it also, so what we want to acknowledge that there is an element of toxic positivity, and today's discussion is going to be what are we going to do about that? How can we acknowledge that that's real, but still lean hard into positivity where it's beneficial to us without, obviously, a lot of us talk about bypassing trauma and not looking at it and stuffing it. And how do we not stuff? How do we not bypass and ignore, but also still pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and move in the direction that we want to go? Okay. So, first of all, let's just talk some definitions. I just have my little notes, and I looked up the definition of toxic positivity, and it says toxic positivity is the practice of overemphasizing positive thinking while denying or suppressing negative emotions. It can lead to people feeling pressured to be unrealistically optimistic, even in difficult situations. Toxic positivity can be harmful to mental health and to emotional well being. Here are some examples of toxic positivity: telling someone to toughen up or stop whining. And as 80s or 90s kids, we all got a lot of that, right? I remember I would be told all the time, "Oh, Laura, you're so sensitive." you know, and just kind of marginalizing somebody or minimizing their pain. Telling a parent whose child has died to be happy that they can have or already have other children, right? As Brene Brown calls it, like that silver lining people's, pain. Urging someone to focus on the positive aspects of a devastating loss, or labeling people who don't share their emotions as being stronger or more likable. In a society where and I think we're doing great. We're learning to be more comfortable with emotions, but as a society that generally has not been comfortable with emotion, we tend to praise or, put at a higher level somebody who's stoic and quiet and doesn't have a lot of needs, right? It's helpful for all of us, for the people around us to have less needs. Let's be real. But I love that we're getting away from that, but let's acknowledge that that happens. While it's sometimes necessary to set aside difficult emotions temporarily, denying negative feelings long term, as we all know, can prevent people from processing their emotions and overcoming distress. So that's what I want to talk about today. And I asked all of us, like, what is the antidote to toxic positivity? And as I've thought about it, uh, I I've also thought, what is the antidote to cheesy or unrelatable positivity? Right, the Stuart Smalley of the Saturday Night Live generation. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Right, that's kind of what we think of when we think of positive affirmations. And it's true that if we choose affirmations or positive statements that are way beyond our realm of what our subconscious mind can get behind, they don't work, right? If you say things that are so far away from reality, your brain will automatically reject it. So how do we work around this? And how do we also avoid throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Helpful practical positivity, let's not throw it out with the toxic, right? So I came up with a few ways that we can do this, and that's what we'll kind of touch on today. But the first one I have is adding a layer of stoicism, and we'll get more into that, but then also self-compassion, curiosity, and also reframing. And so those are some ways that I have found are very practical, useful ways to guide my clients through adding positivity into their work without it being this not relatable, unreachable thing. So first we'll go into stoicism. And as I've pondered how to integrate these, stoicism has really come to the forefront for me. And so I love this book. It's called The Daily Stoic, 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday. And I use this. I have a 14-year-old who we're in our second year of homeschool. And we use this daily just as a quick thought. And it's very, very quick and simple thoughts, right? In the Stoic tradition. And I'm somebody who loves positive thinking. You can probably even just tell from my energy. I'm like, the world is great. And I've been through some really hard things, but I'm still like, the world is wonderful and amazing. So I actually have to work really hard to make sure that I'm not, bypassing or in the toxic positivity thing, because we all have different set points for positivity, right? We know that genetically in all the different ways. And so, this has been a very stabilizing force for me as I've pondered, okay, how can we make positivity relatable for way more people? So, uh, I loved this. So I have a little slide I wanted to share with you guys, okay? Um, the definition of stoicism, or an explanation, I should say, it says stoicism encourages people to focus on what they can control and accept what they cannot, leading to emotional resilience and inner strength. This mindset helps individuals manage stress, setbacks, and uncertainty effectively. Okay, so, and I just wanted to share, this is like kind of the way I thought that I would like to um, start sharing. And like this is the way I view it. Oops, I just made stuff go away. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure it out. Now, back to meeting and this. Let's try. Are you guys able to see that now? Okay. All right. So can I move this little? There we go. I don't know if you guys could see that. There we go. All right. So when I think about positivity and stoicism going side by side, I look through it I call it adding a lens of stoicism. And I found that stoicism brings us to a place, like a really deep foundation of truth and reality. So the roots of the tree are truth and reality. And when we grow our affirmations out of these roots, we then are in a powerful position to, add the positive on top of truth and reality. And we work those things all together. So, um, you can be in truth and reality while still holding the belief that you are strong and resilient. And some examples of this look like, if I can continue to move this, there we go. This is hard, right? And that's something I say to my clients all the time. This is hard. Yeah, this is actually really hard. But what I love to include is, but you are stronger than this is hard. Or, but I am stronger than this is hard. We're not saying this is easy, life is perfect, this is fine. I love Tony Robbins says, there are no weeds, there are no weeds. No, no, no. You say there's a weed and you pull up the weed, right? We're not like delusional. We're not telling ourselves there aren't weeds, that there aren't difficulties. We're saying there's a difficulty, that's real. I'm going to pull it up. So I loved this. This is hard, but I am stronger than this is hard. And I worked as a doula for many years. And this was a phrase that naturally, as doulas too, we're taught, acknowledge what the mother's feeling, acknowledge what she's going through. And that is foundational to supporting her. And so I loved this. This is hard, but I am stronger than this is hard. And I would say that to her. This is hard, but you are stronger than this is hard. All of the power, all of the intensity that's happening inside of your body right now is happening through you. Your body is creating the intensity of these contractions. These contractions aren't something outside that's happening to you. These contractions are your own physical power. And that's a powerful shift where we're dealing with truth and reality. This is really hard, but your body is the powerhouse that's creating this intensity, reality and truth. Okay. Another one I really love for regulating the nervous system or for clients who are dealing with severe panic or anxiety, intrusive thoughts, a dysregulated nervous system. I don't feel safe, but I am safe. I don't feel safe. We're acknowledging the truth and reality of your nervous system and your mind, right? When someone's in a panic attack, they do not feel safe. And it's so powerful to acknowledge that in that moment. But then we go right back over to, but I am safe. If I were having a panic attack right now, talking with you, lovely humans, I'm sitting in a chair. I am safe. I'm not in a traffic accident. There's not a natural disaster knocking at my door. Both things can be true, right? I don't feel safe, but I am safe. And that is such a powerful, it's amazing when we meet ourselves where we're at, how this can transform our lives. So, and I love this too. So amazing. I just heard this morning and I'm writing it on my notes. I'm adding it in, but there was an amazing, I love watching YouTube shorts, just the little short clips of things. And I've really cultivated my algorithm. So it's a lot of great information coming my way, just on personal development, on psychology, all of the things I'm passionate about. And I watched a quick clip from a man named Chris Voss, and he's a former FBI hostage negotiator. And he talks about in this little clip, and I can share it, Michelle. I think our community would be interested in hearing his full little breakdown on this. But he said, in preparation to be a really successful FBI hostage negotiator, he was encouraged to volunteer on a suicide hotline. And he said that when someone would call, the first thing he did would be to put a label on the emotion that you're hearing. So he said, put a label on the emotion that you're hearing, and simply calling out a negative emotion is the most effective way to deactivate it. Isn't that an amazing quote? Calling out a negative emotion is the most effective way to deactivate it. So the truth and reality roots that we want to build with ourselves and our clients is acknowledging the feeling. I'm feeling really sad. I don't feel okay. I don't feel good. And then going from that place, we can move into a different, we can move on from there. But he says that immediately starts to deactivate it. And that's where all the power is. So I loved that. And after, learning all of this about Stoicism, I have found too that using the phrase I choose is a powerful way to anchor our affirmations. So instead of saying, I am healthy, I am happy. And I know I ams can be really powerful in their own way, but sometimes a softer approach would be to say, I choose to believe in my capacity to move towards happiness. I choose in my ability to push through something difficult in the direction of something better that I want more. I choose peace. I have that in my affirmation program, but I love saying peace is a choice and I choose peace. Kindness is a choice, and I choose kindness. Reminding ourselves of our ability to choose is a really, really powerful and much softer, less goofy way, we'll say, to enter into the affirmation realm without feeling like it's so inauthentic to you. So I was inspired by this concept and of approaching positive affirmations through a lens of stoicism. And I was so inspired with it that I went to work and I wrote a series of stoic influenced affirmations. And I thought we could go through and do those right now as a group. Does that sound okay? So we get a second little mini centering and meditation. So everyone just get comfortable where you are sitting. You can get comfy on the floor or elsewhere, but it'll be pretty quick and simple. You can just close your eyes and start taking some nice deep breaths right where you are. And we'll just go into a little mini meditation right now and just notice how these might feel a little different from the classic affirmations you might be accustomed to. So deep breath in, and on the exhale, just invite your body to release and relax. Let go, let go, let go. Inviting every exhale to just be an opportunity to let another muscle group relax, the shoulders, across the brow, the little tiny muscles around the eyelids. And then take a deep breath in, and in your mind, just repeating in your mind, I confront my fears with courage and determination. I confront my fears with courage and determination. I choose to face uncertainty with resilience, trust, and strength. Deep breath in. I embrace discomfort as a pathway to growth and self-discovery. I choose to move through today with faith in my ability to overcome. I am capable of navigating through challenges with clarity and purpose. I can be the calm within the storm. Deep breath in, integrating, and out. I cultivate discipline and resilience to overcome stressful thoughts and feelings. I trust in my ability to handle challenges and emerge stronger on the other side. I choose to acknowledge my fears, but I do not let them control me. I choose to acknowledge my fears, but I do not let them control me. I embrace uncertainty as a natural part of life. I find strength in my ability to adapt. I embrace uncertainty as a natural part of life, and I find strength in my ability to adapt. I choose to focus on the present moment, letting go of worries about the future. I trust in my resilience to overcome any challenges that come my way. I accept my current limitations with grace, knowing that I am enough just as I am. I do not have to be defined by my thoughts or emotions. I am the master of my own mind. And I practice self-compassion, nurturing myself through moments of difficulty. I practice self-compassion, nurturing myself through moments of difficulty. Okay, now take another deep breath, really filling the body with oxygen. And then come back to the room whenever you're ready. And I would love to hear anyone's thoughts. If anyone's interested or open to sharing how you felt or what your thoughts have been so far, I would love it. And if not, I can move on too. Um,
Laura,
yes, Camille.
go
Yeah.
ahead. Well, I'll just start since my microphone is already off. I really love how centering and kind of neutral it brings us, really bringing us to a place of choice, because we're like gaining some really valuable perspective. It's like, yeah, I mean, that's one really beautiful thing about meditation in general is just creating space and letting us observe our own selves. And so I just thought that was beautiful.
Thank you so much. I love that too. What you said, it makes me think of the phrase I say a lot too. Our bodies and our brains love truth. So when we speak simple truths, the body goes, "Oh, okay." What a real. Oh yeah, I forgot that truth. I was so stressed that I forgot to remember the truth. Camille, yeah, what were your thoughts?
Okay, so during the meditation, I have no idea because I've been doing a lot of meditating lately and I go so deep. And then when I come back, I feel a little bit out of it. But I have some thoughts about some things you said earlier about the
Yeah,
toxic positivity, if that's okay to share.
please.
Um, so I love that when I first learned that term, I was like, what the heck is that? You know, I'm like you, I love the positive stuff. But I was thinking about one of the tools I use is EFT or tapping. And there's a part in every affirmation where you say even though, which is to help with psychological reversal, which I think is kind of like toxic positivity is like you're trying to override what's really true and you're trying to just not see it. And so when we do tapping, we always say, even though, and that part is the part that is real and that you feel. And then the next part is the part you're trying to get to. And so learning that or knowing that framework helped me understand what toxic positivity meant. And so, yeah, just wanted to share that.
Thank you. No, I love that thought. That's a great way to help our brains wrap around, okay, what is it that we're doing, you know? And that it's the same as the Tony Robbins thing, right? There are no weeds. There are no weeds. It's like, even though this weed is here, I have the power to choose to grab it and pull it up. And I love, if you guys have seen it, you need to look up the comedian that goes around and he tells people, just look at it. Would you look at it? Have you seen that guy? He goes, oh, look at that classic car. Would you look at it? Look at the beautiful color. And he sees how polite people will continue to be in the face of his like obnoxious intensity. But I love, and my husband and I say it all the time, like, would you just look at it? Look at it. But like, could we just look at the emotions we're feeling? Could we just look at it? And just, and it's like we have the capacity to grab the weed to say, that's a weed. And even though that weed is there, I'm not going to say it's not there. And I'm not even going to say it's not going to grow back from time to time. And I'm just been this one moment just going to pull it all up. But can we just pull it up and can we look at it? And I love what that FBI agent said, right? The hostage negotiator. As soon as you identify an emotion, it starts to deactivate it. Just identifying. And we all know this in the work we do. This isn't, this is preaching to the choir. I know this, but other people will watch this YouTube replay and they will be served by these details. And it also serves us to remember them. And so the next item that I think can be really helpful with overcoming toxic positivity is self-compassion. When I meet with clients for a coaching session, I'll often find that they'll be expressing, I'm really, really sad, or I'm just frozen, or I'm just, this, and they're judging their emotion that they're feeling. And then I'll say, okay, well, what's going on? And you guys, they will come out with this laundry list. I have my job. I feel like I'm failing at home. I have a really difficult child right now, right? I feel like this. Oh, my mom passed away 8 months ago, and I think I'm still dealing with that, right? They just list off this massive list. And I love looking them in the eyes and just saying, did you hear what you just said? Of course you're sad. Of course you're overwhelmed. And sometimes, we hold ourselves to such a higher standard where if our good friend was telling us about their struggles, we'd go, look at everything that's going on for you. Of course the load is heavy because look at the load, but we don't do it for ourselves. So I think deep self-compassion starts with going, it feels really hard because it is really hard. It's not because I'm doing it wrong. It's because really sad, heavy, mad, frozen, stuck emotions come up when it's really hard, and look at all the hard. So I think just being willing to say, look at the hard, it can create a huge shift when you recognize the burden that you're carrying. And when we can help our clients recognize it's hard, you're having a hard time because you're going through a hard time. You're not doing it wrong. And so I also loved, so I had a client who came to me and I'll keep her identity super anonymous, but she had so many psychiatric labels at the time she was still seeing a therapist. I'm not a licensed therapist. That's not the work I do. I kind of am like the sprinkle on top of, making all of these other things they're doing come together. But she said, okay, well, I'm diagnosed with bipolar disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, depression, and PMDD were her 4 diagnoses. And she came to me with this really deep feeling, and she was shaking and like frantic thoughts. Like when we first met, she's not even in the state. She's an online client. And, she just had this really powerful belief though, something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. And that's really powerful one to notice. So that could be an entire session itself, but I mean, an entire discussion itself about how we all get a something's wrong with me. The Laura, you're so sensitive. I took that as something's wrong with me. Where really, that's actually something that's very right with me, and it makes me very good at my job. And it makes me a very intuitive, nurturing mother, and it makes me a really good listener that I'm that sensitive, because I can pick up on things that a less sensitive person isn't going to pick up on. So often what we take as something's wrong with us could actually be a superpower that we've mislabeled. So I will say that as well. But she had that really deep going on. And as we worked through some eye movement processing sessions with her, really severe child abuse came up in those sessions, really, really severe. And I remember her having a massive breakthrough during at the end of one of our EMP sessions. And I just looked at her through the screen, like I'm looking at you guys now. And I said, okay, now can we talk about the fact that you are actually having a perfectly healthy response to what happened to you? Can we acknowledge for just a minute that your body is functioning perfectly? Because when we have a trauma of that level that goes unresolved for all these years, and same thing when she told her parents, like, I have anxiety, they're like, oh, something's wrong with you. Let's get you into never mind the fact that they're the perpetrators of, really severe abuse. They're like, oh, you have anxiety, something's wrong with you. What do we know about children with anxiety? Something's going on in the environment. And it's not even necessarily abuse either. It can just be something that's going unspoken. It can be a lot of things that are going wrong in the environment, right? And so, or just picking up on mom's anxiety or dad's anxiety, or a situation that parents think that they've kept secret from a child and they don't realize that the kids are picking up on way more than they thought. It can be a lot of things, but she kind of got the label, oh, it's because something's wrong with you. And I said, think about this for a minute. Your body should be in having anxiety. Your home wasn't safe. Of course, like, is anxiety not a perfect response for a home not being safe? Are there not healthy anxiety forms of anxiety that are there to protect us and there to signal, ooh, something's off? That's what anxiety's job is. It's to signal that something's off. It maybe is something as simple as our beliefs being off, right? Our beliefs going, we have a belief inside of ourselves. It's a stressful belief that when we evaluate it from a base of truth and reality, and we look at it, as they say, we might find, oh, okay, that thought is what needs to go. The thought is just an erroneous thought that needs to be investigated. But I found that it's really, really powerful to recognize that the body is designed to inflame and worry and panic when it has been violated. That is a perfectly healthy response to the body, or to trauma. It's the body's healthy response to trauma. So the next one is curiosity, which I think this is a more light and fun one, but really important. But I love working with clients I work a lot with people in their careers and with building their businesses or climbing the corporate ladder, those types of things. And I really like to help them bring curiosity to a rejection in the workplace, or they do a big launch with their company and the launch doesn't work out. Or they don't get the job, they just applied for a new job or a higher position. And so some of the phrases around what practical positivity around curiosity looks like is, oh, since this isn't the path for me, if we've had a rejection, right? Since this isn't the path for me, I wonder what better path lies ahead. And I love in the manifestation community, they'll say this or something better is always, this or something better. And that's what I declare. And that's that's the order I'm putting in. But what could this look like? Okay, I wonder why. There have been opportunities that have passed me by, and later in, hindsight is 2020, I see the wisdom of that. And that caused me to go and create the business I'm running now instead of working for somebody else, which is better suited to personality. Shocking. I know this is shocking for those of you who know me. But so yeah, I also love this. So when something bad happens, I still feel, deal, and heal. Let's be clear. But I also add a little dash of, I'm so excited to see how this is going to work out for me. This rejection, this issue, I'm so excited to see how this is going to work out for me. So that's a quick one about, and just but that curiosity of like, that didn't work out. I wonder why. I can't wait to find out. And I leave it at that. I go, oh, I can't wait to find out. Cool. And that leads us into reframing. So I do this a lot with clients as well. When they are fixated on an unwanted outcome. And I had to do this a lot for myself when I was going through my trauma healing journey in 2020. I had a lot of intrusive thoughts. My nervous system was really dysregulated, and my brain, I had really high cortisol. So my brain was my consciousness was saying, oh, I think you have high cortisol, and these stress hormones are pumping through your body because we're in danger. So then my brain played the find the danger game. And it would just make it up. It would just make up all the danger. And so it was like, oh, it's probably because you're going to get in a car accident if you leave your house today. It's probably because there's going to be an armed robbery at the grocery store today. It was just like my brain would do these intrusive thoughts. So I would start to go down this path of like, what are all the things that can go wrong? I went recently working with a client who's in a lawsuit, and she is just sick to her stomach and really struggling with all the ways that the lawsuit isn't going to work out. And the brain, nature abhors a vacuum. All right. So the brain grabs onto this powerful thought, this lawsuit isn't going to work out for me. it's not going to work out in my favor. This isn't going to go well for me, right? And the brain will hold on to that and circle it, and it will try to find all the reasons and ways that that might be true. So what we have to strategically do is give it something else to think about and to do, right? It's not going to just clear and go to neutral. Usually we need to give it food. And so I told my client, every time those negative thoughts come up and they start spiking anxiety and causing all of these issues, I want you to stop. And I talk about it with Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer. You know how he would check a dog? He goes, "Shh," and he like bites the side of the dog. I need to listen to you. And it snaps them out of an aggressive behavior. So we go, shh. I teach my clients, like, when your brain starts to take you down a path you don't want, you startle the brain and you go, nope. I call it, and I also call it like the benevolent, like a loving parent. We can reparent ourselves and show up for our own little brains. But we go, we're not doing that right now. I'm not going to keep focusing on what I don't want. And then I say, stop it dead in its tracks. And then I want you to close your eyes for 30 seconds, 1 minute. And I want you to visualize the exact outcome that you want. And that is such a powerful practice. And I hear time and time again, every time I coach a client through this, they are like, that was life-changing. And then guess what? The amazing thing is, fascinatingly enough, oftentimes what they imagine is what the end result is, or better often. So it's really powerful to go, this is not the outcome I want. And I know my brain, it's a problem-solving brain and it wants to focus on the problems. We're not doing that right now. What we're going to do is we're going to focus on what we want and think about 5 ways, 3 ways, 2 ways that might be just as valid of an outcome as the one I'm constantly afraid will happen. So I have had that from clients. They absolutely love that. The feedback has been great on that. And finally, so with the reframing, this was a really powerful, as my final thought, a really powerful thing I wanted to share. So I was looking back through my old social media posts on my business page to find some wonderful affirmations that were written by Louise Hay, who I feel like is the godmother of all good, the positive thinking godmother, right? And I wanted to share those with you today. When I was healing in 2020, I went on a retreat with some of my really good friends from my book club. And my dear friend, Donna, who's amazing, she brought a stack of affirmation cards, and she said, okay, here, everyone pull a card. And I was still healing. I was still waking up in the night with really severe panic attacks. And this retreat with my friends was one of my first. I felt like a 3rd grader. This is like, I have my backpack on and it's my first big trip away from home. I'm going to hopefully sleep through the night and I'm going to be okay. And because I had really bad insomnia and the panic would happen in my sleep. And so I would wake up in a panic and it was really difficult. And so leaving my home was really big. And it was so it was really profound for me that Donna, she said, just pull a card out of this deck. And it was such a beautiful card. And I'm going to share those affirmations with you guys as I close. But first, I'll just read. When I was finding these, I posted them to my Instagram. And I thought, oh, this is really perfect to finish this thought today. But this is the post. This is what I wrote to introduce the affirmations. So I said, near the end of 2020, as I was still in the process of recovering from severe nervous system dysregulation, I came across an affirmation card from a friend that was written by Louise Hay, with these simple but profound messages on it. And it really shifted my perspective. In the past, when I found myself in the thick of an illness or injury, my response was to disconnect from my body, and I even came to view my body as the enemy. I often felt weak and hopeless and like my body had somehow betrayed me by not being stronger or more resilient. These affirmations set me on a new path. One in which I came to recognize that my body was just the messenger. And as I listened to its messages and adjusted my lifestyle to allow for rest and healing, my body strengthened and changed in ways that I never thought possible. Take a moment, get brave, and ask yourself, what is blocking the flow of wellness in my life? I love that question. What is blocking the flow of wellness in my life? And then ask, what am I willing to do to change that? And it can be as simple as a thought that's blocking that flow, right? Finding the lie, finding the root cause. And I said, so ask yourself, what am I willing to do to change that? Whatever it is, it's worth it. I promise. So that was my little introduction. But these were the affirmations that were on that magical card that Donna gave me at the retreat. But it says, I listen with love to my body's messages. And everyone's like that, let that settle in too. I listen with love to my body's messages. My body is always working toward optimum health. My body wants to be whole and healthy. I cooperate and become healthy, whole, and complete. And I just loved those. And again, it's coming back to truth. I was believing a lie. My body's against me. I would laugh with my friend Darcy. We call it my jerk body. Oh, well, my jerk body is on one again. And I don't talk like that anymore, right? But I loved that. I listen with love to my body's messages. What is it trying to tell me? My body is always working toward optimum health. And that is true. Your cells are turning over. And sometimes they're turning over every day, working to produce new and better cells. And sometimes, yes, cancer is happening and cancer is trying to overpower your cells, but that doesn't mean, and sometimes cancer is winning. Um, and sometimes other illnesses are winning right now. You know, our cells haven't overcompensated and overturned enough yet, but your body truly is always working toward that goal. It's always trying. And our only job is to cooperate. My body wants to be whole and healthy. I cooperate and become healthy, whole, and complete. So I felt like we could just end on that really great example of how positive affirmations that are based in stoicism and they are rooted in truth and reality and in choice, in personal choice. They can be a very powerful motivator and a very powerful shift. You know, they can create a powerful shift that'll move us down the road in ways that we can't imagine. So that is all I have for you guys today.
Laura, thank you so much. What a fun conversation. Like, there were so many moments I was like, yes, yes, yes. Like, I love it. All the positive things. In my journey as I came through to this place where I am now, where overall I feel pretty optimistic, which was not my baseline before, right? And I think about that arc for me, and you touched on things that were super pivotal for me too. And a big part of it was being able to be honest internally about what I'm actually feeling and recognizing that it's maybe not a problem that I'm feeling that, and now I get to choose what I want. So I love all the space that gets created here. And it just made me think too. I have two young adults now, and one of the things I tell them, because they're just learning to be adults, they're just learning, and so when things come up and they go wrong, one thing that has felt so true for me that I have said to them is, you are going to encounter things throughout your entire life, and you will think there's not a way through this. This didn't turn out how I thought it was going to be. I don't know that there's a way through this. And I promise there's always a way through. So you don't have to be in fear about it. Like, even when you can't logically think of a way through, here I am. And here you are, and here we all are. There's always going to be a way through. And so I think that that fits in kind of nicely with the things that you shared today. And we do have a few minutes if anybody has a question for Laura before we wrap up. Does anybody have a question or anything that they would like to share? We've got a couple of comments here on this side. Thanks, Laura. This was so great. Like, I totally agree. 10 out of 10. Amazing. Another comment. So amazing. Can you post the affirmation from the card that Donna gave you? If you feel
Yes.
comfortable with that, Laura, I can include it in the email that we send out that has the replay in it and whatever other resources you want to connect in there.
Yes, that is perfect. And I have it and I was going to say too, if you guys want the stoic affirmations too, I thought I could include if you and that YouTube video, I can send a few things to Michelle that if she wants to add them in an email or whatever, that'd be great. But that's also on my social media. So yeah, I made like these little decorative design cards because I'm like, this is beautiful. But yes, I will absolutely share that gladly.
Laura, that's what I was going to ask. Please.
For some people, oh, uh-oh. Are we still here?
Yes.
Okay. Um, so she talked about how for some women, just saying some of these really powerful, positive statements about themselves are going to feel so fake because they're in such a bad place because of trauma or abuse or whatever.
Hmm.
And so she offered a few suggestions too, like I'm choosing to believe, or I'm moving towards the belief that. And I think it's good to be able to have a different version because if our body's just rejecting that right outright, then we're not making any progress with saying I am. And so I love that you're actually making it softer so your body will accept it as true. And you're also reminding your body that you have a choice. So I thought that was really good. Just like remember, we're choosing every single day. These are options on the table. So that was super awesome.
I love that. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
And I love that, Michelle. I saw what you said, or I'm learning that it might be true that.
Yeah. Like we're
I'm
going that
open.
direction.
Yeah, I'm open to the idea that it might be true that. I love those, Michelle. Yeah, Sarah, I love that. And that's the thing is I think that this wisdom has always been here, right? But we lose sight of it and it gets sidetracked for us. You know what I mean? Like we get back into the I am, I am, I am. And it's cool when you're in a cool space when you can do that too. Have you guys noticed that? When you're unstoppable and man, milk that for all it's worth. When you're in an unstoppable phase, go nuts, go off, ladies. But we also do want to leave room for I'm 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 considering that it might be true that maybe. Or I know what Michelle said. I love it's so cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. You have a 100%, track record of surviving every hard thing that's ever happened to you. 100%. Never have you not survived, right? Those of us sitting here, never have we not survived. And when we don't survive it, sometime if we don't survive something, cool, we won't be here to notice that we didn't survive. So either way, it's great. We can't lose. But and it's the same thing. That's what I've said with childbirth and why that was so powerful to me when I was working with moms. Uh, you in labor and delivery, it's a microcosm experience where you hit up against this wall that you do not think it's a micro experience where you think, I cannot do this. And then you do. And then you can't unknow that you did it. You cannot, it's like written in your cells at that point that, oh no, you're a person who overcomes. It's literally what we're built to do. And so I love that stoicism lens. And you guys would really like, you may want to dabble in some stoicism. It's a very practical and anchoring approach to life. It's not the end all be all, but I really enjoy it. Yes, let's see. Oh, Jen said the F-35s are practicing for an air show above my house, so it's hard for me to get on to comment. I often think about what Sarah said one time that when things really get really hard with your kids or family members, hand it to the Lord and let Him be the savior. We often take on more stress than we should. I love that too. Handing it to anything greater, right? To a greater power. Because we have acknowledging that we only have so much power. That's a huge additional part of stoicism. It's what's in my realm of control and what's outside of my control. And all of my power lies within what I can control and releasing and letting go and letting God, right? Whatever God is for anyone. It's like whatever that is for you, letting Him take His part and you do your part. Or as Byron Katie says, your business, my business, God's business. And God's business is reality. It's what already is. It's the outside things that are outside of our control. The more time we spend up in that realm of things, it's just wasted energy. And so recognizing that it's wasted energy, and then we can put our energy toward what we can do. Oh, so much conservation in that process. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I was just thinking to share about this like I love when you said that giving birth is like this micro example, right? Where you can see the whole arc of what is happening. And it made me think this winter, my kids all convinced me to go skiing with them. And I hadn't been skiing since before they were all born. Like it had been a very long time. And before that, I'd only been twice and I'd never like had a lesson or anything. So my like confidence level is not very high, but I decided like, yes, like let's do it. So we all went as a family and we're sitting on the ski lift and we get to the top and I'm sitting with like all three of my adult kids and they're just chit-chatting because they go all the time snowboarding. And I'm like thinking the whole time, like, I don't even know if I remember how to do this. But here I am going up the ski lift. So we're going to find out really quick if I remember how to do this or not. So I'm feeling like some excitement slash nervousness, but like confidence, like I'm sure I can. I've done this before. And, we're not starting on like the hardest level. And we get off and I like have my first success. I don't fall getting off the chairlift, right? And we come around the side and I saw what looked like a completely vertical drop off, which I know it was not, but that was like the perspective. And I felt that fear come up in my body. I was like, oh, hey, friend, I haven't felt you for like a long time, but here you are, this fear that's coming up. And I didn't even know it, but I was practicing stoicism at the time. And I was like, well, here's this mountain. Here I am. There's a bunch of people here, including my adult kids who adore me and love me and will help me if something goes wacko, right? Like I'm not alone. They're going to help me. And I can either stand here at the top of this mountain until it's dark or I can just give it a go. And I'm just going to give it a go and I don't know how it's going to work out, but chances are it's going to be fine. And I did. Like I kind of just went into myself and tuned out everything else and like tuned into my own divine guidance. Like, where am I starting? Like, that's all I need to know is where to start. So I kind of found an area that looked like maybe it was less of a vertical drop to me. And I went and I got down the hill. And I remember that feeling of elation, of satisfaction, of knowing here was this thing that for a moment I didn't know if I could do it. For a moment, I was scared that I was going to have to ride the chairlift back down or something. I don't know. Right. And yet being able to be honest, like, yes, this is fear. That's fear that I'm feeling. I don't really know what this is going to look like or how graceful I'm going to be going down, but choosing to like lean into it's probably going to be fine. And so we're just going to go for it. And it ended
Yes.
up being this really, positive experience. My kids were like beaming because I was participating in this thing that they love. And I did it again. And I don't know, there's something I think in the same way that birth is a mini example. I think we come across these things so often in life, whether it's a diagnosis or something that's really big struggling or a big financial unexpected shift, right? That's hanging that's happening in our life. And I think we have these moments where we think, oh, I don't know if I can do this or not. Like, hello, my friend fear, like here you are. And I
Yes.
love what you've been teaching us about how we can bring that forward.
Thank you so much. And it makes me think, so wish me luck, everyone. I'm going to the dentist today to have cavities filled. I have not had injections into my body since my injury in 2020, which caused my whole medical crisis, was an injection. And my body is hyper vigilant and hyper reactive to any foreign substances. And now I get to go be at the dentist. And I was like, this is like the most timely, perfect time for me to have this presentation to give because it's like a reminder I really need. It's like, yeah, this is actually hard and it's really scary. Hey, body, I know it's really scary to have a foreign liquid injected into your body. It didn't go so well last time that happened. So, but guess what? We're stronger than this is hard. I don't want to let my teeth rot out of my face. So I'm going to deal with it. And it's just one more opportunity for me to show myself that I'm stronger than my fears. And it's hello, darkness, my old friend. Oh, hello, fear.
Okay, Laura, as we are coming to a close, where can people connect with you?
Yes. So I am at becausetheworldneeds.com. That's my main website. And my husband and I have a podcast called Because the World Needs Another Podcast. We talk all about my really severe 2020 meltdown in the very first episode of Because the World Needs Another Podcast. And of course, it's called Because the World Needs Another Podcast because probably the world doesn't, but we think we're funny. So, but we just dropped the another podcast part because the world needs compassion. The world needs tools and connection and stillness. And so that website is dedicated to bringing to our attention many of the things that our body needs and that the world needs a little more of. So it's just because the world needs needs.com. And then you can find me on Instagram at Blackwell_collective is like my business account. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. And I will include a link to your website in our email list so everyone can grab it there as well. So
Perfect.
thank you everyone for being here. This concludes our October Learning Lunch, and we will see you next month with a deep dive with Camille. So we will see you then.